To breaking news now. In the past few minutes, the European Commission has laid out its plans for tackling the spike in energy prices in the bloc. The action plan is split into immediate and medium-term measures. The Commission wants to help poorer consumers to pay their bills or defer payments. They also provide aid to prop up energy-intensive companies and industries while investigating energy firms for anti-competitive behaviour. Looking further ahead, the EU says it'll step up investments in renewable energies, set up gas risk groups to prevent a repeat of the price peaks. It also says consumers will be empowered to choose and change their suppliers. For some more analysis, let's bring in DW correspondents Marina Strauss in Brussels and Christy Platzen in Frankfurt. Marina, let me start with you. Will these measures provide timely relief? People are fearing a cold and costly winter.
Yeah, we have to see that. I mean, there are these short-term measures and they could actually definitely help people. For example, targeted tax cuts, checks for poorer households, also making sure that households don't get disconnected from the grid all of a sudden, state aid for companies as long as they're in line with state aid rules and competition rules, also medium-term measures, stepping up investments for renewables, explore the joint or voluntary procurement by member states for common gas procurement. So this helps a little bit, but of course this is not a solution to the big problem.
Christy, over to you in Frankfurt. Looking at these measures that are planned, are people where you are asking themselves how governments are going to pay for that with finances strained by the support handed out during the pandemic?
Yeah, Chris, so we're currently not hearing a whole lot about concrete measures that member states are expected to reach for in terms of funding these cuts that they want to pass on, understandably, to consumers and to businesses. A draft of the toolbox that came out a few days ago did say that member states would have access to the EU budget and to the COVID relief funds as well, particularly when it comes to helping commercial and residential buildings become more energy efficient. But this is, of course, a more medium-term solution. As for what they concretely could be doing, we could look at Spain for an example. They recently introduced a special levy on utilities companies. They basically introduced this tax to keep these companies from making excessive profits at times when energy prices are very high, as they are now. And the idea is that this tax would help make up for tax cuts offered to consumers. Now, interestingly, a group of European energy companies issued a letter coming out against similar measures being expanded throughout the EU. So there seems to be some very real concern there that this could be a measure that member states reach for. In terms of Germany here, there's also the carbon tax they've introduced this year, and the coalition government talks are talking about the future of that. But it's getting colder by the day, so we'll need to move fast for sure.
Marina, back to you in Brussels. The EU Commission has outlined its plans. What happens next for these recommendations to actually become policy?
It's now, as always in the EU member states who have to decide what kind of measures they want to adopt. And Christy already mentioned some examples that are already happening in Spain and in France, for example. Also, EU heads of state and government will meet next week here in Brussels, and energy prices and the measures presented today by the EU Commission will be at the top of the agenda. Also interesting development is that the European gas market will be reformed by the end of the year, and some measures that are still very vague right now, for example, decoupling gas from electricity, could be then further developed by the end of the year.
DW correspondents Marina Strauss in Brussels and Christy Platzen in Frankfurt. Thank you to you both.